Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when the narcissist realizes they lost again. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I did videos, specifically November 8th, 2021, called When the Narcissist Realizes They Lost. This is in addition to that, and you should take a look at that video. It has almost 3 million views. The reason I created that video is because I was a broken person. I was not in a good spot, and I had been in the cycle, and I was healing. That's one of the most important videos I ever created, and this is going to be in addition to it years later. You see, as you have healed, just like myself, or you are healing, you're changing, you're ascending, and you're elevating, you're growing. You're evolving. The narcissist is doing none of those things. What the narcissist is doing is they're staying in that low vibrational state, that low vibrational existence where they need to trap people. Because the narcissist is a bottomless pit. They need to fill that bottomless pit, which is a huge void, with other people's relationships, other people's emotions, other people's time, money, health, hobbies, and so many more things. That's what's known as supply. You don't need supply. What you need is a life full of abundance, toxic free. You need fulfillment, promise, growth, direction. You need positivity. And you need to apply the tools that you've acquired post-narcissistic relationship. So why this video is titled, When the Narcissist Realizes They Lost Again, it's because it started with you. You see, you were the first person, most likely, that had ever broken the chains of the narcissistic abusive cycle, which means you cut the tethers. You cut the ties, the four ties, the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. If you haven't done that, you are either working towards doing it, or you're developing, creating, and executing an exit plan, and then that's when you will begin to do those things. But any way you look at it, you are getting stronger, and you are understanding what toxicity is and how it affected you for that period of time in your life. The narcissistic relationship is unlike any relationship known to humankind. What it is, it's by design a relationship to take everything from one person, to leave that person a shell of themselves, to leave them empty, to leave them with no purpose, no hope, no promise, no future, to leave them stuck in the past, reeling, thinking over and over and over about who that person was that just tried, keyword is tried, to destroy their life. I was one of those people, not the toxic person, but the person who was healing and tried to figure out, why me? What happened? How could I not see the signs? How come that person never loved me? How come they don't love their own kids? How come they don't love anybody? How come there's a bottomless pit within them? Well, it took me quite a long time to figure it out. But once I did, I went to work on myself and I stopped thinking about the narcissist. I stopped pining for them. I stopped experiencing FOMO. I practiced radical acceptance, and I realized that I was the priority, that I came first, second, and third, and there was no longer room in my life, just like in your life, for toxicity. Now, to get to where you're going, it will take time. It took me time. It took a lot of time, but in your time, you will get where you're going. And you may say, well, where am I going, Andrew? You're going where I am right now, which is a place called the mountaintop of indifference, the pinnacle of indifference. This is where you no longer care about the narcissist or people from that period of time who were drinking the Kool-Aid that the narcissist was pouring about you and all of the smear campaign that they had instilled with your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, your immediate family members, your extended family members, your neighbors, if I didn't say that, and so many more people. You see, the narcissist, as I shared with you earlier, this is like a huge void within them that has to be filled, but in order to fill it, they need to ruin people's lives or crumble them up like a sheet of paper and throw them away in the freeway, i.e. that's what's known as a discard. You most likely were discarded. I was too. Not a fun thing to go through, but then again, neither was the narcissistic relationship. Post-relationship, many times we are thinking of all the good times, and we are highlighting and or romanticizing the good times, even though they were few and further between, because we experience way more toxicity, way more triangulation, way more verbal abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, gaslighting, the silent treatment, stonewalling, rage fits being thrown on us, being hung up on, being walked 10, 20, 30 yards in front of us, being treated less than, being treated like complete strangers, actually worse than that, and more. But again, we didn't know what we know now. We weren't taught this in school, so how could we have figured it out? Well, what happened was when the narcissist discarded you, or when you ended it yourself, however you cut it, then you began to heal. The narcissist wasn't healing because they have nothing to heal from. They cannot be genuine or accountable or introspect within themselves and say, wow, I really did damage to those people and I knew what I was doing and I did it anyway. They can't do that. What they do is they just put on a different mask. And maybe for a split second, once every leap year, they do tell themselves, wow, I really am nasty. I'm getting worse. Because why? That's right. Because I'm becoming the aging narcissist. No, not me. I'm talking about the narcissist. Maybe they do for a split second every leap year, which is every 4 years. Maybe for about 20 seconds, they look at the mirror and say, yeah, I really am getting worse. Well, it's the truth. As they're getting worse, which I don't care about the narcissist, you're getting better. You're getting stronger. You're elevating. You're changing. You're growing. You're evolving, as I shared with you earlier. And that's why when the narcissist realizes they lost again, by now, if time has gone by, I can almost assure you this has taken place. Now, you may not agree, but just stay with me on the video. What you did was you beat the narcissistic abusive cycle, or you're doing it. You cracked the code, you figured out who they were, what they did, and what they're capable of, and that you wanted nothing to do with them. Eventually, you went no contact, and you blocked that person, you deleted them, and you removed all flying monkeys and people associated with them. You also had to rebuild, perhaps relocate, start a new job, change your phone number, maybe an email, and you had to start your whole new life all on your own. Same thing I had to do. When you were doing that, you were getting stronger. As you were getting stronger, the narcissist, whether they were spying on you or not, and let's say for this part of the video they weren't, but they have fly monkeys everywhere, trust me. But let's say they weren't. Well, as you were getting stronger, they used their sixth sense and they said, wait a minute, something's off here. I'm not feeling the tug or the pull from that person, which was you, that I usually am feeling. They're getting free. How is this possible? I don't know what to do. The script in my tiny little pea brain doesn't tell me what to do. I don't understand this. How could someone have broken the chains that I shackled around them? I don't get it. And then they turn to the narcissistic abusive manual and they try to turn to whatever page it is where it says what to do once they're losing grip or grasp or control or access to somebody. And that page, guess what? It doesn't exist. Because the narcissist cannot believe, they can't fathom, they can't wrap their teeny little pea brain around the fact that you escaped. But not only did you escape, you healed. Not only did you heal, you elevated. Not only did you elevate, you rebuilt. Not only did you rebuild, but you put yourself back together against insurmountable odds. And now your cup is either full or getting full. As the narcissist keeps fumbling through their playbook, trying to figure out what to do when someone's breaking the chains of the narcissistic abusive cycle, and they eventually realize that that page doesn't exist. It's not that it was ripped out of the manual. It doesn't exist because these people, they are so shallow and hollow. They believe that everybody does whatever they want them to do and that there must be a way to get that person back under control or get access to them, etc. That's what a Hoover is, but I'm not going to talk about a Hoover. What I'm sharing is as they realize that, then they say, okay, I lost that one. I'm going to act like it never happened. I know that they're strong as you know what, but I can't believe they did that. And they will stay stunned and they will check into a flea bag infested motel with an old box TV and pizza from 6 years ago that hasn't been cleaned out, and the bathtub doesn't work and the water coming out of the sink faucet is rusty, and the neighbors have been living next on either side of them for weeks and they haven't paid the rent, just like the narcissist, and the padlock on the door doesn't work, and it's really a not good situation. And you may say, why would you paint a picture like that, Andrew? Well, I'll tell you why. Because that's the low vibrational state where the narcissist likes it. They don't like it where you like it. They don't like it to elevate and ascend and grow and be committed and grow together. They like to go at their own, and every one of them eventually goes down to that low vibrational quagmire state where they exist, and that's the real them. You may not wrap your head around that right now, maybe you do, but the point is the narcissist needs to unplug, specifically when they experience a narcissistic injury, specifically when they experienced past tense or maybe even present day, that somebody like you was stronger than they ever imagined and that you got out of the spell. You broke the curse and you broke the trauma bond and you no longer have access to those people and you're not allowing them access to you, and you've healed. So as you're doing those things, and this is a great thing for you, by the way, the narcissist still, they're going to be in disbelief that you did what you did. And then they're going to look in the mirror and they're going to say to themselves something like this: okay, I lost that one. Don't know how it happened. I must be getting rusty, but I cannot believe they did that. But they did. Then they put a new mask on, or they go back to the old mask. They stare at themselves in the mirror and they say, I am incredible. I am loved. I am powerful. I am a master manipulator. I will keep control over this new supply. I won't lose control. I will continue to pepper them. I will continue to send them emojis. I will love bomb them until I don't have to. And once I get my dirty fangs or claws sunken into them, I will get a new person. This is what they say, things just like that. And that may have frightened you. I think I blinked once in about 30 seconds there. I'm locked in. When I'm locked in, I don't blink that often. That's not the point about blinking. The point is when you do what you love, it comes naturally. You don't need a script. You don't need a teleprompter. You don't need AI because you lived it. And that's me. Now, getting back on track, when the narcissist says that to themselves, then they say whatever source of supply they have, they're going to do their best to keep that person punished and trapped in the zombie-like, trance-like state, which is the narcissistic fog. But guess what happens every once in a while? And it's happening more and more frequently. I'm not sure if you can guess it, but I'll give you a couple seconds to take your best shot. All right, guess what it was? Right. There are now more people. Yes, there are more people that are breaking the cycles quicker than the way or the time frame that you broke the cycle, or myself. And you may say, how is that? And how do you know that? And how is it true? And how is that possible, Andrew? I'll tell you all three things. Number one, when I first started creating videos almost 5 years ago, and I began March 31st, 2021, 5 months and 2 days after the discard, I was in a very, very debilitating, challenging, life-threatening, isolated space. You should check out that video. It's called Glad You Made It. I created a whole playlist on that, the Glad You Made It playlist. I have 5 of those videos, and I'll create a 6th one this year on March 31st, 2026. But having said that, time has gone by. People now are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered. People are realizing toxicity at the hint of it. People are now putting up more and more boundaries. Now, this is a part of the video that you probably didn't expect for me to say, but then again, probably you don't expect I'm going to say a lot of these things other than the taglines and the phrases I coined over the years. But pay attention here. 5 years ago, you know the time frame, the world stopped. You can think whatever you want. It's up to you. Point is, the generation, the younger people of that generation, of that age group 5 years ago, meaning the youth, when the younger people were in that, when they experienced whatever took place 5 years ago, they looked inward in a different way than you had to, because they no longer had access and they didn't do the things you did. Example, they didn't go out and ride their bikes. They didn't go play flashlight tag. They didn't go play hide and go seek. They had to stay in their houses just like you did. And those people developed different skill sets. And guess what? Although I am older, I'm one of them. Having said that, this changed everybody's perspective, specifically those of us who were in the toxic abusive cycle, or who had been in one, or were understanding how much power we actually had. I hope you're following all these things. Now that generation, I'm talking about the younger generation, and or now I'm adding anybody who went through that period of time 5 years ago. You know how debilitating it was, you know how isolating it was, and so on, more and more and more. Well, what did we do, those of us who looked inward? What did we do with our time? And again, I'm at the top of that list. I'll tell you what we did. We focused on ourselves. We controlled what we could control. We stopped consuming toxic rhetoric, toxic energy, toxic programming, if you will, and we started to rebuild our lives. Now, I was in the narcissistic abusive cycle during that period of time. You may have been, you may not have been, but I can assure you, you had the same amount of time I had. Depending on what you did with your time, you either focused on yourself and learned, you either were caught up in the narcissistic abusive cycle and you had no idea and things got worse. You either were by yourself and maybe you didn't have to focus on yourself as much and you were playing video games or watching movies. I don't know what you were doing, or binge watching Netflix, etc. Whatever you were doing, you had the same amount of time as I did. Now, we are all human beings. We all do with our time what we so choose to do. When you were in the cycle though, well, I'll talk about me. When I was in the cycle during that period of time and the discard had happened, which was October 29th, 2020, 2 days before what was my favorite holiday. When that happened, I had no choice other than to exist or not exist. And January 6th, 2021 came around and I almost didn't make it, but I made it. And I decided a little bit before then, but that afternoon was pivotal, that I would now do anything I possibly could, anything, to put myself back together so I would get strong enough to pay it forward. Fast forward March 31st, 2021. I don't know how many days that is, a couple months and days after March 6, 2021. That's when I created the channel and I paid it forward. So I'm tying this all together for this. There are people that were in the cycle back then. There were people that were just getting kicked out of a cycle. And those people put themselves back together. They're the ones that are stronger than ever because with their time, they maximized it and they learned. Now, if that wasn't you, it doesn't mean you didn't maximize your time. What it means is now you're getting the wisdom. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you're ready to get the message, you got it. I was ready to get it October 29, 2020. And then again on January 6, 2021, and officially created my channel. The video I'm trying to share it with you is that the narcissist now probably has lost more than one fuel source. Not just you. They may have lost the fuel source after you, which means the other person may have wised up and discarded the narcissist or removed the relationship ahead of time. No matter how you cut it, these narcissistic relationships, the length of them are shortening. Now you may say that's not really true, Andrew, because the people I know, they're in these relationships for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You would be correct on the time frames, but remember, those relationships started in the 1970s or 1980s. I am referring to now in the year 2020 going forward, those of us who made it through that period of time, whether we were in the cycle or not, but experienced toxicity, we have a shorter period that we will tolerate poor behavior. Now then again, there are people like myself who were in the cycle or out. I don't tolerate poor behavior. It's gone. Email, phone call, text, anything. If I'm mistreated, I don't have time for anybody to do that. And truth be told, nobody does that with me. Way back when they did. But the point being is now people are becoming more in tune with themselves and understanding what toxicity is, narcissism, and how much it can affect their lives. So people going forward, beginning now is what I'm referring to, or basically 5 years ago, they now don't allow toxicity to grow. They don't allow the fangs of the narcissist to get as deep within them as they used to. They are making exit decisions quicker. They are putting up boundaries quicker. They are testing other people quicker. They are not just going along with saying, oh, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Yeah, you don't want to go to my favorite restaurant again tonight for the third time this month and you want to go to your place? Sure. Oh, you want me to pay for it again? No. See, all these things go away when you apply the tools that I provide for you with each and every video I create, and from all the beautiful comments and wisdom from all over the globe. See, most of us were in the narcissistic relationship. Most of us did not know what we know now. And I'm going to tie it all together and I'm going to end the video. 5 years ago, I had no idea what was going on. Zero, nothing. I wasn't taught this, and I had no idea what was about to take place for me being isolated and trapped for 2 years and 2 days in that house. Guess what? I used every second that I was awake, and sometimes even when I was sleeping, by doing meditations and other things, to focus on myself and to heal. And I've done just that. And now I pay it forward and help other people to do it. Having said those things, when the narcissist realizes they lost again, they're going to continue to chalk up loss after loss, after loss, after loss, after loss. The more this world keeps spinning around, specifically at the accelerated rate that it is spinning around at, because there are fewer people with a high level of trust. There are fewer people that don't have boundaries. There are fewer people that don't trust their instincts or intuition or pay attention to red flags. There are so many more people now that are educated on narcissism, toxicity, parts of human behavior, mindset, emotions, and what people want from other people. Now, is this everybody? Not even close. But it's a heck of a lot more than it was 5 years ago, and it's more than it was yesterday. And after today's video, it will be even more than it was today. That's why what you need to do is continue to grow, to continue to heal, to continue to stay at that pinnacle, that mountaintop of indifference, and continue to shine higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, and everything in between. And let the narcissist continue to chalk up the losses over and over and over again. So what started with you when you were discarded, or what started with you when you entered it and you got strong and you healed and you blocked the narcissist, etc., they said to themselves, I cannot believe this happened. I used to have full control over that person. They would do anything I wanted them to do. And they would say, thank you, may I have another? Now, no longer do I have access to them, but also the other sources of supply I've had after them, they don't even come close to cutting it like you did. And they don't do anything because they're wising up. They're figuring this out. This is what the narcissist is saying, whether you know it or not. It's exactly what they're saying in the little brain. They don't have any place to hide any longer. They have fewer and fewer corners of people's lives to hide in. The shadows are becoming exposed by the light. The darkness is becoming exposed by the light. The toxicity is being eradicated, whether you know it or not. So why I'm saying this is do your part. Go no contact. Block that person today, if not now, when. Don't roll the dice on toxicity. Don't give that person another chance. And no matter what you do, believe in yourself the way I believe in you. And all the time you're doing this, understand the narcissist will realize that they lost yet again. and they'll continue to keep on chalking up the losses as long as they continue to slither around on this place called Earth. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember two things. One, if you get a chance, check out the first video I ever created called Glad You Made It. There's a whole playlist there on the description part of the channel. The first video ever was recorded live on a Thursday night at about 10 o'clock with my smartphone. Rest I'll share some other time. But that video was a broken person who knew that they had a lot to offer the planet. And that's why I made my moonshot and my calling. And I've done exactly what I've shared with you all that I would do 5 years ago. I'm doing it, and I will continue to do it every single day I'm here. That's part one. Part two, when the narcissist realizes they lost, that was November 8, 2021. Check that video out. Like I said, it's got almost 3 million views. It's not the views. It's the fact that it has changed people's lives. Just like everything you do. When you do the right thing, eventually the cream rises to the top. People will look and say, wow, that person really knows what they're talking about. They lived it. They care about humanity. They care about helping people. Well, that's what I do, and that's what I will continue to do. Not everybody, and I mean everybody, is who they appear to be. I am. I'm an empath. I'm kind, loving, stable. I was in that narcissistic, toxic relationship from hell for way too long, but I healed and I put myself back together, and I can help you too. Understand a few things before I close the video. The narcissist will never change. They will continue to chalk up losses. They will never improve. They won't introspect, and they will all become the aging narcissist, which is not, and I repeat, not a pretty sight to see. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.